The presidential election of 1860 was a very interesting one, not only because it elected Abe Lincoln to the presidency, but because of the fact that there were not two, not three, but four major parties jostling to have their candidate become president. This was because the election was happening right after the fateful Dred v. Scott decision, at the high point of the tension in America between the North and the South, resulting in a very fractured election. This division was shown no better than in the Democratic Party, whose first convention of the year ended in deadlock after disagreements over the party's policy on slavery caused the Southern delegates to storm out. A second convention was held later in Baltimore, this time with many Southern delegates not attending. And this convention had a Northerner, Stephen Douglas, famous today for running against Lincoln in the Illinois Senate race of 1858, winning the party's nomination for president. Even though they nominated a Southerner, Herschel V. Johnson, for vice president, it was too little too late, and the Southern delegates, in their own separate convention a little later, nominated the runner-up from the first convention, John C. Breckinridge, a Kentuckian, as their presidential nominee. And then both Breckinridge and Douglas claimed that they were the rightful Democratic nominee. The newly formed anti-slavery Republican Party, on the other hand, seemed pretty unified in comparison, and they were poised to nominate William H. Seward, former governor of New York and today of Seward's Folly fame. But on the third ballot, Abraham Lincoln, an underdog candidate from Illinois, snatched up the Republican nomination. The fourth party was the Constitutional Union Party, which was formed from an alliance of former Whigs, who were the party in opposition to the Democrats that the Republicans had largely replaced, and Know-Nothings, who were an anti-immigrant, anti-Catholic firebrand organization. They wanted to keep the Constitution of the Union just the way it was, and they sidestepped the slavery issue altogether, trying to keep the Union together. They nominated John Bell for president. The sectional divide of America was shown no better than in the campaign itself, with Douglas and Lincoln fighting in the North, and Bell, who enjoyed support from many of the border states, dueling Breckinridge in the South, almost as if there were two separate parallel elections going on. Come Election Day, Lincoln won 40% of the vote, Douglas around 30%, Breckinridge 18%, and Bell 12%. However, Lincoln won a majority of the electoral votes with 180 to his name, with Breckinridge coming second with 72, Bell with 39, and Douglas with only Missouri's 12 electoral votes. Even though Lincoln won a majority of the electoral votes, he wasn't even on the ballot in 10 southern states, showing the nation's deep sectional divide that would erupt into civil war just a couple weeks later in response to the election, making it one of the most important in the history of the United States of America.